up, beautiful people? Welcome once again to hnclothings, and in today's tutorial we are going to be learning how to make these beautiful necklines, these beautiful dress designs, blouse designs. Yeah, so if this is something you're going to be interested in, please do keep on watching. And for this particular tutorial, we actually need our front basic bodice pattern. You also need your back, depending on what you want going on at the back of this neck designs or of these designs. Okay, so yeah, let us begin. All right guys, so I have my front bodice in I have a lot of them, though we'll be working on different designs. So yeah, just get your pencil ready, okay, because you are going to be doing it on your own. I'll be using the marker so that you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so let us begin. Enough rambling. Now for this first neck design, this first style design, this is how my basic bodice pattern comes in. I'm sure you already know by now the shoulder darts and the waist darts. So I have my full front. You know, this is how the full front of the bodice is: the left and the right bust. Is it the right and the left bust? Yeah, the right and the left bust. The everything, the line dividing the body into two equal halves. So this is why I am using this, so that you'll be able to see it more clearly. Okay, so first things first, this is like a scissors neckline, but in this sense there's nothing at the bottom. It's just covering the bust part. That's this style design. So first things first, I need to close up my shoulder darts and transfer the darts to my armhole, not armhole, no, to my side seam. So I'm closing up the shoulder dart and I'm transferring it to my side seam. You can also transfer it to your waist dart, but there's no even waist there holding anything, so the dart should be in the side seam. If you're using the stretchy fabric, you can do away with the darts. So let me do what we are meant to do, closing up the darts and transferring it. So before I even transfer it, let's measure how low we want, where we're transferring the darts to. So from your armhole, you should measure about either 3 inches or 2 inches. 3 inches from that armhole, that will serve as the side seam darts. 3 inches on both sides. Then connect that to this shoulder tip, that place where the shoulder tip that is, that's where you're connecting it to. So I'm doing it on both sides because I have a full front bodice. Okay, now that you have that, by the time you close up the darts, you should slash through this new dart lines here. Okay, so let's do that. We're just doing this temporarily. We actually still need to close it up somehow, but yeah, let's work with this first of all. So what we're going to be doing is, you're going to need to draw your basic neckline. That's the basic neck design. I'll be folding it back, right? And let's measure what I have here from this midpoint here. So I have about 8 inches, which is like my shoulder is 16 inches, right? So that means that I'm going to be using like maybe a neck width, not maybe, I'll be using a neck width of 3 inches or 3.5 inches. Let's use 3.5 inches. And you should go low to about, depends on how high up the neck you want it to be, but it shouldn't be lower than 4 inches, right? Because you need the support from the neck. You need it to hold well on the neck so that it's going to sit well on the body. So this is what the neck design will be. Let me do it on the other side as well. I use 3.5 by 4, so this is my 3.5 and my 4. Now this is a neck design that will be cut out of this style design. Okay, so from this neck point, that's this part where the neck started from, you want to form your scissors pattern to your armhole. So it's just like going this way into your armhole, and curve it out a little, just a little. So yeah, something like this. Yeah, so it's coming. Coming this way from this part here, and it's going into the armhole. Just curve it out. Then the other part, you can decide to go all the way to the tip or just some inches away from there, and it needs to actually go down. This one will be the other part that will go down below the dot line. This will be going below the dot line. So from here, like, you need it to cross either below the screw bust line, right, or on it if you want some action to show. So I'll be going just like 1 inch below it, which is this point. So my line from here needs to pass through that point and go into the side seam. So it needs to go into the side seam that way. So by the time you sew up the darts, and please, whenever you're going to be sewing up these darts, make sure that you do not sew up to the shoulder tip. You need to go below, go 1 inch away from it. So let me fill it up with paper and show you how you sew up that dart. Okay, so from this point here, this is the shoulder tip point, remember, that's the point there. So from that point, you don't want to sew the dart up onto that shoulder tip point, the dart point. So we are going below, measure like 1 or 2 inches away from that point. So I'm going to measure in 2 inches away, and then at that midpoint you want to redraw the dart leg. So from here, draw this dart leg here and draw the other dart leg here. Okay, yeah, so that would be the new shoulder dart point. So let's cut. Now another thing you want to do is, you may decide to you also need, not decide, you also need to actually hold some parts like this part so that it's not just flapping open. You need to actually hold some kind of like a dart that is seamless there, so that you are holding some of the fabric from just them being all flappy and everywhere. So I'm also still using my eye to give it a perfect curved shape. Yeah, now this dart here, you have to actually eliminate the darts there, right? So yeah, cut this one away too. Try as much as possible to make both sides look good. Okay, so we have a dart here. First of all, go and remove the darts on the side. I think this dart is about 3/4 inches, so just come to the side. You can even measure out 1 inch, because there will be a lot of gaping somehow somewhere. So you just want to eliminate that dart first of all. Cut that dart away. So this dart doesn't exist anymore, right? Then when you're sewing, you're going to be sewing up these two parts. So let me fold it well so that we can see the shaping is going to form. You want to sew up these two parts like so, right? So that will fit on the bust. Your bust will go into that part there. Also try to use your mannequins to do fittings for this paper, right? Like put the paper on the mannequin so that you see where else you need to work on. So if the bust is here, okay, let's even look at it normally. Can you see that you have some gaping going on here? After you even hold it on the side seam, see this part opening up here. You actually need to look for a place to maybe hold it. That's why we have even removed that dart. You still need to look for a place to just hold it to be seamless, okay? So I would introduce that part there. So when I pin that part down, like tape it down, you can see that it doesn't give me that open gapey feel. I hope you understand. So we are contouring. This is like contouring. Contouring is testing out the pattern, seeing where you need to slim fit for lack of a better word. So I'm just going to use that tape to hold on there, okay? And by the time I open this one out, it's still laying flat. So I've unpinned that dart that I was that I had held together, and you just cut two pieces of this, one for the left hand side, one for the right hand side, okay? And as much as possible, you can decide that you want it to have the same width rounded, okay? So you can either still go ahead to trim here. Let's see, you can decide you want to have the same width. So here I have about 4 inches here, and coming down here it's a whole lot. So either trim a little or just leave it that way and let the thing do what it needs to do. I hope you get the gist. You may want it to be symmetrical all round. Yeah, I think this is looking better. Okay, so this is it. And if you're going to be needing a band like exactly what we are seeing on the screen, this part of the waistband, right, this part on the waistband here can now be the band that will go around it. So all you just need to do is cut that part off. Yes, I'll put it this way together and draw a straight line. Let me draw a straight line. Okay, so this dart part, you can either fold it in, right? Just fold in the dart parts, okay? So when you're cutting on your fabric, it's just one long strip that will be used for the band. So I'm just folding the darts. Fold it, don't mind that it's folding more than what you should, but when you fold it properly, you see that it's like a curved shape, right? Instead of a straight line, it's going to be giving you like a curved shape. Yeah, so that shows you folded it well. Yeah, so this will be going here, right, on the band on this side, and when the other part crisscrosses here, it's going to be touching up on this part. So yeah, that is what you need for your bodice. That's for this particular style design. This will be cut in 2 pieces, this one straight band. Then for the back, the same way we did the front, you just need to either crisscross it, or for your back it can be a normal back with that. You can just do your normal back, right, full back, and go with it, or still do the same thing put the two back pieces together and draw this. By now you should be an expert, so I trust you to be able to handle the back. I'll be showing you the front pieces. Yeah, and yeah, that's for style 1. Let's move on to style 2, guys. Alright, so for style 2, still we need our front basic bodice pattern. We are going to be doing a cup corset, a corset on one part of the front, while the other part is just a regular waist dart or a armhole dart, like we did for style 1. Okay, so first things first, it's like we have an imaginary line in between. Let me just draw that line with a pencil so that we know that this side is for the cup. You need to, first of all, like I said, analyzing the style design helps a lot. Aside from analyzing the design, you also need to check out on what side, that's if you do not have both things exactly on the left and on the right hand side of the front. You need to now determine where you want yours to be. Do you want the corset or the other part? Do you want it here or you want it here? So left to you to determine what exactly you want. I think I'll be making the cup on this part, while this part will be for the neutral part. So first of all, I also need to, not even first, so this is like second or third of all. Everything is first of all. So next, I now need to close up the shoulder dart and either transfer the dart to the waist dart or to an armhole dart here. So I'll just transfer it to the waist dart so that I don't have too many dart lines going on there. I'll just rule like a middle line in between the darts here. Okay, so I will be closing up this part because this one is just the regular side without any cup, anything. Whenever you're closing up the dart, please close it up real good. Then we're going to be slashing here to make that part relax. You can slash all the way to the top there, but when you're sewing, your sewing should start from here. When you're sewing, let your sewing start from here to sew back this dart in place. Okay, so that now that we have this part relaxed, another thing is you want to do your basic neckline. I'll still be using a 3.5 by 4 inch for this regular basic neckline. I don't want you too tight or tricky. The normal neckline that comes with this pattern is a 3 by 3 inches. 3 by 3, it's like a polo neckline for me. It's just, you know, my neck isn't so long, so imagine me having that kind of neckline. I'll hardly breathe. So these are some of the things you need to consider. That's why I'm using a 3.5 by 4. At least there's a little room for my neck to breathe. Okay, so great. Now that I have that neckline drawn in place, the next thing is from this side, you want to do your cup corset. So on one side, I'll just fold this part this way and do my cup corset here. So for that cup corset, remember how we do it. First things first, you tighten this corset like 100%. So you're going all the way, tightening it all the way. Yeah. So measure what you have here, and this is 3 inches. Multiply 3 inches by 2, which is 6 inches. Then add that 6 inches, right, which is, then add that 3 inches back original dart, which will give me 9 inches for me. I'm just going to tighten it back. By now you should know the routine. If you've been practicing the corsets we've been making on here, you should already know the routine by now. then here all the way to that tip, to that shoulder tip. Yeah, so that will tighten it firmly. The next thing is you want to in this case there's really no, because this is not like a proper corset, so there's no 1 inch spacing in there. There's none of that. Then another thing is you want to determine where the under bust is. So from your shoulder, measure to where your under bust is, about 14 inches for me. I'll rule a line on that mark. That's going to be my own under bust tightening, where the cup corset will sit. So I'm going to be tightening the under bust there. Okay, so I'll be tightening it by I'll just do like 1.5 inch here. Yeah, 1.5 inch here, and maybe here 1 inch on this side. 1.5 inch here, 1 inch on this side. Okay, I remember because we've been doing corsets, so I know what to do. Then on this side, I'm coming to go in by like 2 inches. 2 inches here. Depending also on the style you can see on your phone. So you now want to curve it, right? You want to curve from here. You want to determine how you want the cup to be. So let me use my pencil. So this one, if you look at it very well, is coming all the way to the bust line. I'll just move like 0.5 inch away from that center, that exact center, and from there I want to curve it this way. Then determine how I want this cup here to be. Shouldn't be too high up, because if you look at the picture, it's not so high up. Then from there, I'm just using my pencil to do a sketch first of all. This way, then from here we're curving it this way. Then from here we are also curving it this place, this way, right? And from here we're curving it this way. So this is how the cup will be here. Don't mind this spacing. You don't even want that extra how do I call it? You want it to be smooth and really cup the breast. So all this one is just extra excess. If you actually do it here, it's extra excess. So now that I'll also measure that what I have from here to here is the same thing as what I have from here to here. So if not, we adjust where necessary. So from here to here I have about 2 1/4 inch. Here I'm having about 2 3/4 inches. So it's either I increase this part or reduce this part. Let me see. This is where 2 3/4 inches will be for me. So I'll just increase that part there. Now let me go over it with my red marker. Let me go over it with my red marker. Remember the diagonal that this thing should be passing through. Don't forget those things. Okay, now that we have this, right, This is where we'll be joining together. You can draw or notch those parts so that it's going to help you while joining. But you know that in the picture the line doesn't come across the nip, it goes across. It doesn't come from up to the bottom, it goes from side to side. So that means when you cut it, you still need to join together with paper and cut it across. Okay, so now that we have done the cup on one of the sides, remember that from here you can now join it to this part, to your normal waist. That you can tighten it a little, that tightening we always do, right? Then just sew it straight down, corsets, yeah. So you can tighten it that way. Now that we have this on the cup corset, we are now going to also draw the line. So I will cut my cup. So it's going from the tip of my shoulder, from wherever I want the shoulder to go. The line is going that way and cutting here, just stopping just about here. So it's coming from here, that line is coming from here and stopping here. So I need to actually cut all this part off, then join it back together. So this dark part does not exist anymore. We are now going to be folding just the original dart, the original shoulder dart, not the increased one, no. The original dart, that black line dart. You're folding that. Okay, so now I'll cut off this neck. So there's like a sharp this thing here. I'll just trim it down. Okay, now that we have this here, the corset part here, so you can decide you want to come in. So from here, just want to draw a straight line. So I think that part is okay. I was drawing a straight line there. Let's cut this away. Now this is not all. This part, right, is detached. It's going to join here. When you're sewing that part up, it's going to join there. It's going to join there like so. Then this cup part here, this part that will be joined there. Okay, so you want to actually draw a line across, either using any of the lines there. You know, this place is matching up, this place is matching up, so you want to decide if it's right through the midpoint. Okay, so if we join it up this way, join it up this way, it will match up. Sewing it will match up. See, from here, join, join, join. It sews up together nicely. So you want to determine where you want this thing to come from. Okay, so we can say, oh, since that's the bust line, let it come. Let me use my pencil and just draw a sketch. So it's coming from maybe somewhere here. Okay, so yeah, now just cut this part open. and paste it to this part here. I hope we're getting the gist though. If we're getting the gist, let me know. If it's not going to lay flat, please pin it as it curves. Pin it to curve that way. So this one will be there, right? And here, I think I'll need to pin it to curve out, not to lay flat. Then here, I say pin it, paste it. So when you sew it in, the cup stays. I'm trying to pin it so, as in paste, use the tape to hold it so that it forms the shape. But ideally, I hope you get the gist. Let me just hold it down that way. So that is how that part will be. Okay, so you see that this one is more covered up. That's to tell you that when you want to be sewing your style, if you want it more lower than what we have here, please feel free to. Okay, let me just use this tape and put it. Okay, so yeah, and here. Okay, so at least we've held it temporarily. This is what you'll now be having by the time you sew it up, right? And you see it's almost like what we can see here on the screen, the bust full, and yeah, lovely. Okay, so this is for style 2. Remember, you're going to be sewing up the darts on this point. That's going to give it the bust here. Let me put a tape there to hold it down. So I'm just holding it temporarily. By the time you sew it, your dart, remember the dart shouldn't be sewn to this tip. It should stop at where this black this waist dart stops at. Okay, you don't want a dart running up onto your nips. Yeah, so this is what we'll have for the style 2. And for the back, if you're going to be doing a back for this, your back could still be a normal back. That's the normal left and right hand side without anything going on there. Or you also do this cut, this asymmetric, but do not do any cup. There won't be any need for cup at the back. You can just draw an asymmetric line, and when you draw the line, you can now put it out this way. Let me get a back pattern and show you what I mean. Okay, so this is my front. Let me remove the front, and I'm just assuming. Alright, so let's assume these are my 2 back pieces that have been joined together on the waist side. First of all, you know that you need to place it right side facing right side, like normally like this. Is either wrong side facing wrong side or right side facing right side. So I'm putting the wrong side facing wrong side like this. Let it match up on the shoulder, especially on this side, right? Then next thing you need to do is from here you can decide, okay, I hope you can see what I'm doing. Let me put it this way. Let me move it a bit. So I can decide wherever that thing stops, right? Wherever this cup stops, I'm going to just trace it. So this is what I did there. Can you see it? So on this side, I just put the thing there, do it this way, and trace it this way. That's by placing this on it, right? I'll know where to, let me move it. By placing this on this, I'll know where to put my shoulders matching up. Just trace it straight down to where you feel that cup is. If you even want it lower, fine. Then just trace it into the armhole like a stretched, like like straight that way. And if you don't want it to go all the way lower like this, you want the armhole to still be the gauge. From there you can do the straight line there. So that part will be cut off and it's going to fit like the front, or you just still leave your front, your back that same way. Whichever way you decide to do it, fine by me. Okay, so yeah, that is for style number 2. Let's move on to style 3. All right, so for style 3, analyzing the design, we can see that this up part is being replaced with a strap. So it's like there's no shoulder, there's nothing, just the strap crisscrossing, right? That's why we still have our shoulder dart, our waist dart we are working with. You can do a princess dart or an armhole dart or something like that. So let me show you what we're going to be doing for this next style design. Okay, we have a normal waist dart. The shoulder darts have been closed, and yeah, there's a very deep plunging V right in the middle. It's like a bust here. We're doing basically a bust here. So first of all, tighten the start up. I'm going to be tightening by 150%. Okay, so by 150%, I mean that I'll be whatever you have here, right? How do I explain this? 100% is double of what you have here. So 150% is like 1.5 of what you have here. So if I have 3, I usually have 3 as my darts. 1.5 is what? 4. That's double, then half of double again. That's 3 is the double. 3, that's another 3, that's 100%. Then half of 3 is 1.5. So I'm going to be increasing it by 4.5. When you say increase, there is still that one that was there before. You're just adding 4.5 to what you have there. Okay, and if you want it more firmer and tighter, you can do all the way to 200%. That's whatever you have there, right? That's 3 plus 3, 6. Then add the what you have before. Okay, that will be 9. But me, I'll just be doing 4.5 plus what I have there, 3, which is 7.5. Okay, so I'll be tightening that part by 7.5. Let me fold it into 2. All right, so let us tighten this dart. We'll be tightening it by we're adding 4.5. I can do 3 inches towards the side, or 2.5 inches towards the side and 2 inches on that side. Yeah, let me do 2.5 from on this side, same side. Then here I'll do 2 inches here. Then you want to connect it to that shoulder tip, that shoulder dart, tip of the shoulder dart. Okay. All right, so now that we have tightened this up really pretty and good, the next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be drawing the shape of how the neckline is going to be. Okay, so we are cutting the neckline out. So from this armhole, let me use my pencil. From this armhole, we're going this way. Then from here, it's just a straight, sharp line. Okay, I hope you can see that. Yeah, so or it all depends on what you want. Okay, so I will be first of all closing this dart up, transferring it here, but here I think it's too low. It's too low here. You want it to get to maybe this true bust is showing your bust already. Let it stop here. That's if you want it to show in between the bust line and the true bust line, in between there, that midpoint, because this one is too low. It's way below the bust, so that fullness of the bust, everything here may be spilling over and showing. So yeah, it should be from here instead. however low you want the neck to be. So I will first of all be closing that dart up and then slashing here to relax it out. Okay, so let me just, I'm closing both of them together. I have to do it neatly. Okay, so I've done that neatly. I'm now going to draw a slash line here that I'm going to be slashing through to open that part up. So by the time you're closing this part, right, it can come out nice and lovely. Okay, so from here, like I said, if you don't want it curved inwards, you can make it curve outwards. So you'll be putting your French curve this way, so it curves out nicely. Let it curve into the armhole there. Then from here, from this point, you can now draw the curve line. That's the V line. How deep you want the V to be. I hope you can see that. Let me use a marker. So from here and here and this part here goes into there. Okay, so we can now cut this out. So we are just having only, we're going to be having only a what do you call this now, a waist dart here. We have tightened this part, we have closed it up, so I'll just close it up nice and neat this way. Okay, and if you want this to go way lower than this, please feel free, however you want it to, but I'm just telling you, some, like, you should have a gauge to show. There should always be a gauge. Don't overcut it, because even when you sew it up, it can still go lower. So let me just put paper and tape here to help me. You know, we increased the darts there, so we're going to be having this for the front. Then the strap is coming from this point, crisscrossing to the other side, and from here crisscrossing. So you're going to be measuring to know how long you want the strap to be. And for the back could just be, and you know, when you hold this dart, like when you sew up this dart now, it's going to give it that bust. Let me just hold the darts temporarily so that you can see it in action. You can see it live. Okay, so I'll just put that tip there like that and hold it down. Yeah, so when you push up this part, that'll be the bust for me. Okay, yeah, so it's sitting pretty, the bust okay. Then you're going to be measuring the strap, and it's coming across. So if this is your strap now, one will be coming this way from here, this way, right, to the back, and the other strap will be coming from here this way to the back. Okay, I think I need to hold a lot of things down just to show you how it's going to be. Okay, So this way, and the other one will be coming from here. Let me pin it down. From here this way to the back. And remember that because the back, this one will now go straight down, straight to join the back. So let me show you what the back is going to be, since we already have this whole low thing going on at the back. Okay, let me now show you what you will do for the back. So let's imagine this is our back piece. Okay, you're going to be taking the front, right? You put it either wrong side facing wrong side or right side facing right side. You know that for the front, because of the bust, we have this sharp thing going on here, but for the back, instead of making it sharp from that armhole line, so from here you just want to draw it straight. You measure where that armhole is, so from there you just want to have just a straight line. So let me show you, just follow my eyes. Just want to have it straight, right? So you just want it straight that way. Cut off this part, so this part no longer exists. We have cut it off, that part no longer exists. Then when you sew up these two places together, right, you're sewing up the side seam, sewing up the dart, and here the straps now crisscross and go to the back. I hope you understand what we've done here so far. So this is how the back is. So I'm showing you the back and the front together, okay? Yeah, so let's move on to the last style design and we wrap this up. All right, so for this last style design, it's like doing a love shape. You're just creating a love shape on your pattern, and there's a lot of straps going on at the back to hold everything in place, okay? So yeah, I'm sure we've seen this as tops and even sewn in something like, yeah, they were using it as tops and all of that. I said they. Yeah, so it's been trending as tops and all of that. So I'm just going to show you what to do. It's almost similar to what we did, what the last style design we did. So we're going to first of all tighten the shoulder darts, tighten it a whole lot. We use 150%. That's whatever you have here, 1.5 of what you have here. So I have 3 inches here. For instance, if you have 4 inches, you're going to be doing another 4 plus half of 4, which is 2. So you'll be adding 6 inches to the 4 you have there. But or you do 6 inches and split it on both sides, knowing that the 4 still remains. Or like what I'm going to do for me, since I have 3, it will be 3 plus 1.5. That's half of 3. That's 4.5. So that means I'm going to be splitting 4.5 on both sides. So I'm going to fold this into 2, like so, to help me better have a symmetrical thing on the both sides of my pattern. So I will be, like I said, tightening here 4.5. I'm going to use 2, the larger size, the larger tightening towards the side seam, and the lesser one towards the center front. So I'll use 2 inches here, and I'm going to be using 2.5 inches here. I'm going to draw my line to that tip point there, and the same thing here. Great. Now that we have tightened this up, you now also want to determine, you can see that this one is way low, way low. It's going, we're going to use this true bust line as a gauge for us. This is our true bust line, so we'll be using, this is the chest line, bust line, true bust line. Please check my basic bodice pattern. I want to assume that everyone on here has watched that video already, so that's why I'm not even telling you what each of these lines are for. So just check my basic bodice pattern. It's in the description box, or it's also linked. You've seen it, it's linked up already, so please just check it for knowing what to do. Okay, so now that I have it this low, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be holding this together, right, slashing it open through the waistline. So let me just draw that line that will serve as the slash line through the waistline, right? Then I'll now draw the love shape. So let's fold this together you want to fold it nice and neat because it's like double, so it's thick. I'm doing this double so that you can see the light thing, not until I sew it up. Okay. Okay, then slash this open. Okay, if we're going to be doing anything with the shoulder, you actually needed to fill this part up, but since we're not using that, it's fine. So the love shape is like a leaf. It's not even the armhole itself, it's like it's cut off part of the armhole. So from here, which is like the chest line, you make it straight from here. Don't worry, I'll still go over it with a pen. I need to sketch it out first. Make it straight. Then from there, you now want to curve it into that bust line, which will form the first part of a loaf, right? Forming the first part of a loaf. Then from there, it's coming from here. And you're loving it up. So if you even fold it in together, you see that this, it still needs to, so let me put it this way to face you. You need to make sure the love comes from here, because this dart will be sewn up, so the love is coming from here. So just try and give your bust coverage, so your bust at least is around here. If the love is still this part, like 2 inches away from the side seam, it will still give it coverage. Okay, so I have been able to so let me just use a marker to go over it. So from here, right here, and from there, here. I hope you get the gist. So we can cut this out. So when you now pin this part up, like so, more like sewing up the darts. Okay, remember the darts shouldn't be sewn up to this point that you slash. It should stop at where the original waist dart stops. So I'll just use a tape to hold it there. I hope this video is helpful and you guys will be trying it out. See, you need to always try out what we have done. It's not just for doing sake. Try it out. So yeah, this is the love shape design. I've seen this a lot on most Instagram pages. And when you sew it up, if there's any part that doesn't match up, you can always trim it out. And for the back, just know that for the back is straps. There'll be a strap from here, long straps. There'll be straps on the side, there'll be straps here, right? So there'll be like 1, 2, 3. So you leave holes, and or you do like loops and have one long strap that you're going to lace. You lace the straps like you're lacing a corset or lacing a shoelace. But be careful when you're wearing something like this. So It should be like for a vacation beach or something. Summer wear. These are all like summer wear vibe kind of thing. So yeah, this is what it is going to be. By the time you're done doing this, it's gonna look so, oh, it looks pretty already. Whoo. You want to see it on me? Hey, it looks pretty already. Okay, so yeah, that's about it, guys. So if you did enjoy this tutorial, you're gonna try this out. You're gonna let me know how it came out. You're gonna leave me a feedback. Please give me a huge thumbs up. Also subscribe if you're yet to. Drop in your comments, your questions. Yeah, and yeah, that is it for this video. Okay, till we see the next tutorial. Stay safe. God bless you all. Bye.